Hi, I'm Donna, and today we're talking to the lovely Jay Archibald about her long COVID journey and how she's almost recovered, specifically from the fatigue symptoms that she had that were debilitating, and also how she worked with her own mindset. So, hi, Jay, how are you?
Hi, good morning, Donna. I'm good, thank you. Thank you for
Good.
having me.
That's all right. Thank you for doing this.
You're
I'm sure,
welcome.
lots of people want to know how people have recovered from long COVID. And I know there's lots of people who feel like they're almost recovered or like that 90% recovered and just haven't
Mhm.
managed to get that 10%. So don't like to share their stories. But these are the stories that people want to hear because they might be, really severely affected by long COVID currently. And they just want to hear of people who have got their lives back and are pretty much recovered rather than saying they're fully recovered because there's not many of those out there at the moment
Mhm.
saying that, but there's lots saying they've almost recovered. So thank you so much for doing this. I know it will
It's a
be
pleasure.
appreciated. So first of all, then just tell us a little bit about how you first came down with long COVID.
So, the first year, 2020, um, I think that was the year that they weren't. So it was the Christmas actually, and we went to my sister's for Christmas, and unbeknown to us, one of us had it. So we had our Christmas, then it was coming up to New Year's and I wasn't feeling well. So I'd caught it by that time, coming up to New Year's. Um Ended up going to hospital and but stayed as an outpatient. But by that time now, a lot of people were coming in with suspected COVID, COVID. So yeah, it was a bit hair raising because I didn't know what was happening. Just felt really like a really bad case of flu initially. They did send me for a scan just to make sure that I didn't have any a lung scan, just to make sure that I didn't have any what's those things? Blood clots in my lungs, yeah. But that was clear. And then I was sent home, did a COVID test, because at that point I didn't do a COVID test, did one, and got the result back the week later to confirm. And I was in bed for about 3 months.
Right, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and how did you realize that you actually had long COVID? Was that diagnosed by a doctor or was it something that you
You
worked?
know, the test came back, but I'd never felt like that before. I've had flu. I'm asthmatic. So
Mm,
I had flu, and I just was bedridden,
mm,
couldn't breathe properly, wanted to avoid the hospital because with asthma, they tend to put you on the ventilator, and I wanted to avoid that like the plague,
mm.
basically. So my niece had a friend of hers whose auntie was a nurse, so she called me and told me the exercises to do to try and do. It was tiring, but I tried. Not as much as I could have done, but I did try. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then whilst I was there, that was January, a family member, my brother's girlfriend's mother passed away. And I was like, oh, I felt so guilty. It didn't do good for my mindset after that, but very, very guilty about it. And they said, oh, that's survivor's guilt. But yeah, I started suffering from post-traumatic stress as well because at nighttime, obviously the curtains are closed and it's dark, and I was
Mm.
freaking out. This was later on when I'd kind of recovered, and I couldn't even sleep in my bed where I was sleeping, where I was suffering. I then swapped down to the footboard rather than the headboard and slept there because it was just too traumatic and reminded me a lot of what I was going on and how I honestly thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
So it was a horrible experience. I mean, you hear lots of stories and different people, different, what different individuals are going through. So yeah, it was not nice. It
Yeah.
wasn't nice at all.
Sounds awful for you. Um,
Mm.
what were the worst symptoms, do you think, of long COVID? Once
So
it came into play, what do you feel like were the
yeah, um, the worst was the fatigue,
Mm.
not having the energy to do anything simple day-to-day chores. I had a job and I was made redundant in August of the first year of that first year of COVID. So I was at home. Um, yeah, the fatigue, the no energy. I can't say low energy, it was no energy. Um, and then I started to suffer with depression. I'd stay in bed for days, wouldn't get up, couldn't have the energy, had to get up and try and feed myself because my son and his girlfriend, they were out at work. So, you know, those two were the hardest to deal with, the mindset and the fatigue
Right.
because you didn't know, and speaking to a doctor
Mm.
at that point, they were like, oh no, you're okay,
Yeah.
and just dismissing it. And
Yeah.
every time I brought it up with my GP, he just dismissed it.
Yeah, I think as the fatigue side of it is like one of the worst symptoms, isn't it? But it's so
Yeah.
difficult to describe it to someone.
Yes.
And people in the medical field just don't understand. It's only people who have gone through it themselves that really
Absolutely.
appreciate what fatigue actually means. And it's not just
Hmm.
feeling tired, is it? We know that. It's just, exhaustion to the core.
To the core.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you feel then? What helped you on your fatigue journey and what helped you to get where you are now, where you feel like you got a handle on the fatigue and you're able to continue with your life and work now and you've moved forward so much. What got you to that place?
So initially, I just had to succumb to it because realized that the more I tried to do, the more I was down. So um, I just tried to get done the bare minimum, really. I couldn't sweep the kitchen because I used to sweep up the whole house and mop the whole. I could do that. I couldn't sweep and mop. I had to do one or the other, and I'd have to break in it. So I realized quite early I had to cut down on the activities, housework activities. And I started researching. Because I knew how I felt, I started researching taking vitamins. And I'd always been taking vitamins anyway, but specific now to how I was feeling. So, um, the zincs, the vitamin D as well, B12s, I looked at a lot of them. So I started taking those. So the regime was vitamins and then resting a lot. But having said that, I did manage to build my own company, open up my own company, and that was in 2022 because got long COVID in 2021. Well, at the end of 2021, 2022, I had it. So I did manage to open up my own business, but I was up and down all the time. So I struggled with that. Then I think it was 2024, I think, when I came across your group, or 23, I'm not sure. Um, and was watching, I think it was 23, I saw your long COVID group. And was just looking at, your story. And that was it for me. It gave me hope, um, to say, well, I can recover from this. So that was good. And then I did your course, um, Recover Well, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
And it helped me so much in the fact that there were other women who were like me. Granted, there were women that had a lot more problems than I did. And my problems wasn't as severe as what you'd gone through, but it was very devastating to my life, total change. So yeah, I attended Zoom calls that you we had as part of the course that you did, and looked at diet and what vitamins you had taken for your recovery, and mine had pretty much lined up with yours. So I knew I was on the right track. But one thing that you had um, shown me to do was pacing, which was instrumental in me getting to where I am today. Um, and yeah, I'm able to go networking for my company. Go out a lot more. Every other day I go out, but understanding that if I go out on one day, I must rest the next day. So I'm more, out there. I did a lot of research on my mindset and followed a couple of coaches, signed up for a few things on mindset as well. I think you covered it in your Recover Well as well. So that kind of opened my eyes to go ahead and, to pursue someone about that. But yeah, I'm ever so pleased that, today I can say I'm about 90% there.
Wow.
Um, Yeah, and my family, they've supported me and they can see a difference as well.
Yeah.
The only challenge I've had challenges with my weight also because obviously I couldn't do the exercise. So that's my next challenge to overcome
Yeah.
is my weight.
It's just incredible. I mean, I've known you a while now.
Yeah,
Met you when you were quite early on your long COVID journey and
yeah.
struggling. And to see you now, like thriving in your business and just doing so well, and it's just lovely to see that you've come so far. And I know you said about mindset work and also the pacing. So what was it specifically about pacing that you didn't understand previously that you then learnt about pacing that was so helpful for you?
So with the pacing, it was, of course, finding your baseline, understanding what your baseline is, meaning that you can start, that's where you start from. And then identifying what your baseline is. And then prioritizing pacing by means of, okay, if you're going to go off and do one activity, maybe rest for half an hour afterwards, depending on the intensity of the activity. What people don't understand is sitting in a meeting, we use so much muscles, but that can be exhausting as well. So what I do now, I obviously network online. I speak to my clients online and prospective clients. So everything on my calendar, my timetable, I have factored in uh, a gap of about an hour, but within the hour, I will use, say, half an hour to just rest. If I feel that I can go on, that's fine. I don't push myself. If I, if I feel that I can't go on, I don't push myself. I will go and rest. But if I can, I will, go on to the next activity and then come lunchtime, have my lunch at the specific time and rest. And that is my timetable for the whole week, every day. Sometimes it's pushed back a bit, but I keep to it just as if I'm doing a task for my client.
Yeah.
It will be a task for me that I must uphold. And I
That's
don't ever not do it for
Yeah,
myself.
well done. Because I think we've all worked out, everyone that does pacing and it works for them, we understand that it's consistency. I say
Absolutely.
consistency is key. And if you're doing the same thing, then you're not shocking your body anymore. Your body knows what to expect, it knows its limits. And then you can gradually, like you say, build that lovely foundation baseline and then
Mhm.
build on top of that because it's not
Absolutely.
good. I'm
Yeah.
so pleased to hear that's worked for you.
Thank
It's
you.
incredible. So how do you feel like your life is different now, like looking back? And I know you said you're 90% recovered, but what does that look like for you?
For me, it means that I can go to activities that are not on only online, get out there because I was really missing the interaction with other people, physical interaction, a lot of networking. I went to, in September, I was able to go to a photo shoot in Notting Hill. Um, and then it was a brunch with the successful women of the groups. And I was so happy to do that. I'm part of another Facebook group that they have a massive networking party in June and December. And the first one I went to was last June. June just did I go? I think I went last year, December. And it felt so amazing to get out there. I think I told you I went out there in December
Yeah.
and I went again in June. I'm not going to go this December. Yeah, but it's just lovely to get out there and meet people again. I was always outgoing. I was always out and about,
Yeah.
doing what I had to do. So it was such a debilitating situation to be in when I couldn't do for myself you
Mm.
know, I've ne never been in that situation. Um, so yeah, I measure how I am physically, but also mentally. I hit rock bottom, and I did do a couple of sessions with mind therapy as well. But yeah, I felt like everything was over. There was no coming back from this. Nobody's going to help me. How am I going to be able to, what, is this it for the rest of my life? Type of thing. So, I learned how to think about myself in a positive manner, get rid of those mind monkeys, just stay positive and visualize how I was before or how I want to be
Yeah.
for my future. So yeah,
Really important as well to know
absolutely.
recovering that. So that visualization of actually you being recovered is so
Yeah,
important, isn't it? To know that in the
absolutely.
future, and it can change everything if we can change our mindset.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. And being positive as well. It's all very easy to just go down a rabbit hole of negativity, but it's not going to help you. It really isn't. So, you've got to have hope, and there is hope.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah. And I,
amazing.
I used you, I was so impressed with your journey that if you could do it and you came back from a wheelchair, using a wheelchair, then, I can do it too. So
Oh,
thank you for all your input.
gosh, you're welcome. And I mean, you're just an inspiration, and hopefully you will be to anyone watching this that, coming back from debilitating fatigue where it just completely changes your life. You can't work or do anything to then be able to work and attend networking events and do all these socializing events that you couldn't do previously. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
It's an inspiration to everyone. Thank you so much, Jay, for your story. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, for watching. If you want to follow me for more recovery stories and insights into how people have recovered, then I'd love you to join me on the journey. Thank you.